Let it be. For me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to the Draft Prospects One-on-One series, your guide to some of the biggest and hottest names of the 2025 NFL Draft. We are wrapping up the running back position as we have gone through the top 20 running backs, in my estimation, or at least we've gone through the first 15 of them, or 15 of them. We'll go through the final 5, the best of the best, the creme de la creme to me, yours truly, Louie T, here in the 2025 NFL Draft at the running back position. The running back position is without a doubt okay, I shouldn't say that. It is one of the deepest positions in this year's draft class. Defensive line, very deep as well. I think those two are kind of running neck and neck in this particular draft. But running back is among the most talented groups in this draft. By far and away, the best group on the offensive side of the football. And so let's talk about the running back position and get to the 5 best running backs in this year's draft class. So this may surprise some of you, but starting at number 5 here is Omarian Hampton, 5'11" and 3/4. So essentially 6 feet tall, 221 pounds, bigger back. Ran a 4.46, which was one of the big question marks a lot of people had about him coming into the draft process was, could he run? Did he have long distance speed? I think he checked that box at the combine. I'm still not 100% sure that that is true breakaway home run speed at the NFL level, but a 4.46 is a 4.46. And because he ran that, and I've seen him run away from guys, you have to give him credit for that. But I still question, is that long distance speed legitimate? But here's what I wrote down in my notes as I watched him. Big, physically built back, plays under control, above average contact balance. You know, that's a big thing for me. There were several times where he got hit, kept his balance. It wasn't the prettiest. It wasn't the most fluid, but look, we're not looking for style points when we talk about contact balance. Can you keep your feet and continue to churn out yards? He was able to do that at a relatively high clip while at North Carolina. Deceptive burst. You see this guy, he's damn near 6 feet, 220 pounds, and he's big, and you just don't expect him to be as explosive, especially to the line of scrimmage and then through the hole. I think that burst, he gets up on you a little bit faster than you expect. I got triple speed in my notes, but it's triple to home run, right? I think he can hit some home runs at the NFL level. I think he'll hit more triples than home runs, but he's capable. He's fully capable. Speaking of capable, he's a capable pass catcher. He's a willing pass protector. Again, a lot of these running backs in this year's draft class aren't skilled pass protectors. Their teams usually didn't ask them to do it very often to begin with. If they were in there as, you know, a 6th man, if they didn't have a responsibility, their job was to get out. A lot of times they're carrying out fakes to the opposite side of the field where the play is going. A lot of times they're just getting out as a flare, as a check down. They're being motioned out of the backfield. They're throwing screens to him, things of that nature. So a lot of times these guys aren't blocking, but he did show a willingness to stick his nose in there. It wasn't always, again, the prettiest or the most efficient, but all I care about is, are you willing to put your body on the line? If I'm a coach, I can deal with the rest of the things that you may not know. Are you willing to sacrifice? If the answer is yes, I can work with that. He is willing to sacrifice. He finishes runs very well, can carry the ball in either hand, which is important for me. 5 career fumbles, only lost 2 of them. So for a guy that has carried it as much as he has, that's not a very alarming number. Now, a couple of things that I was not the biggest fan of. I think he has ordinary feet and agility. He's a bigger back, but I talked about Caleb Johnson. I like Caleb Johnson's agility. I like his feet. And he's a bigger back than Omarian Hampton. So I think his feet and his agility are ordinary, right? Kind of tight hip, tight ankles. And his vision isn't very special to me. I don't think he sees it all that well. There were times where I thought he left some meat on the bone, where he just put his head down, got 2 yards, where I think that if you just cut this to the outside immediately, there could be 22 yards out there for you. So I didn't love his vision. I thought it was okay, right? But I thought he left some meat on the bone there as well. Overall, he's a really good back. And I wouldn't be shocked if he's the second back taken in this year's draft. Wouldn't shock me at all. Do I think he's the second best back in this draft class? Obviously, I don't. My comp for him is Leonard Fournette. And I'm thinking more Jacksonville Jaguar, fresh out of LSU, Leonard Fournette. But as we saw, Leonard Fournette didn't age all that well in the NFL. I don't know if Omarian Hampton is going to either. Now, there was the such thing as playoff Lenny. He was a different breed. But Omarian Hampton gives me Leonard Fournette vibes. And we'll see where he ends up. But he is one of the guys that you look at and say, he can be on the field for all 3 downs. More likely than not, first and second, you'll have a guy that can complement him on 3rd downs. But he's a guy that I think most teams look at and say, that's a professional NFL looking back. Not one of these guys that come into the NFL at 195 or 202. He's 220 pounds. He looks the part of NFL running back. So let's get to number 4. And this is a guy that I like a lot. I've got 2 real big knocks on him. But if he turns out to be who I think he can be, none of that shit matters. Quishon Judkins, Ohio State running back, is number 4 at 5'11" and 5'8", so roughly 6 feet tall, 221. So he's very similar size-wise to Omarian Hampton. Ran a 4.48, another guy where you question his long-distance speed. Omarian Hampton, I question his speed. There was a play against Clemson, going back to Omarian real quick, in 2023 when Drake May was there. And I remember watching that film where he gets tracked down from behind. And I think he might have slowed up thinking that he was going to score, but it doesn't matter. The end result is something you can't have. And he got caught from behind. Ball was poked free. And he fumbled before he crossed the goal line. And it cost Carolina 7 points in a game that they probably would have won had he scored that touchdown very early in the ball game. So I question that long distance speed. Same with Quishon Judkins, right? He's had some big play opportunities, big runs, most notably the national championship game against Notre Dame. He gets caught from behind. But there are other games where you watch him and he breaks that run and he doesn't get caught. But does that team have the level of athletes that Notre Dame has? And we all know that the level of athletes at the NFL level is greater than that at Notre Dame. So if he couldn't pull away from Notre Dame, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to pull away at the NFL level. But the 4.48, fine by me. He did run his 40 a second time, and it was a 4.51. I'm thinking that's more of along the lines of what he is as a runner. 4.51 doesn't matter. He ran the 4.48, and that's good for him, right? Here are my notes on Quishon Judkins. Physical downhill runner with quick feet and decisive demeanor that always chooses violence. We'll come back to that. Third, triple speed, triple the home run. Same thing that we just said about Omarian Hampton. Solid pass catcher who doesn't mind getting dirty in protection. The thing I love about the 2 Ohio State backs is that they were forced to block. That was not optional at Ohio State. If you were going to play, you were going to have to be physical and put your body on somebody's body, right? whether you were lined up in a dual backfield, right, with him and Quishon, and Quishon's or Trayvon, and Trayvon's getting the ball. Well, you're Trayvon's lead blocker. Go get somebody. Go put your body on a body, right? Same thing with Trayvon. And so they force those guys to be physical, and you see it show up in pass protection as well. Finishes runs with the nose for the end zone. Only 4 career fumbles, lost 3 of them. So this is a guy that I liked him back when he was at Ole Miss. So him going to Ohio State and continuing to do what he did was very impressive. Sharing that backfield with Trayvon Henderson, but not really falling off from a production standpoint. Quishon Judkins, to me, gives me Josh Jacobs vibes. And that's what it feels like he can max out as. A lot of people forget Josh Jacobs, 4'6" guy, right? Quishon, a lot faster than he is. But the thing that Jacobs has that I don't think Quishon has is the ability to make guys miss, especially when he first came in the league. Jacobs, in his Green Bay stature now, I don't think he's making a lot of people miss. When he first came in the league, he would stick his foot in the ground and he would cut it back and he could make you miss. Quishon Judkins, I'm still waiting for him to make somebody miss. I talked about him choosing violence. He doesn't attempt to make people miss. He looks to run people over and punish them. And his thought process is probably, if I keep doing this for 4 quarters, eventually you're going to quit and you won't want the smoke. But I'd like to see him make somebody miss. I don't know if he's even capable of doing that. Okay. I think he has average vision as well. Again, he's a meathead when it comes to running the football. He'd just rather put his head down and get what he can get instead of trying to scan the field and see where the cutback lane is or where he can go to pick up more yards. If there's an option between finding a way to slither through a hole or running through someone to make a hole and create a hole, he's going to create a hole. So I don't think his vision is great, and he doesn't make anybody miss. That's why he's not 3 or 2 on this list. It's why he's 4, because he just doesn't make anyone miss. So I don't think he maximizes his talents because he's always looking to lower the boom on someone. Still, I'd take him in a heartbeat. With all that said, I'd take him in a heartbeat. He's going to be a damn good back in this league. So now we're going to move on to number 3. But before we do that, let's get a word from one of our sponsors. We come back on the other side and we'll get to the final 3 running backs on my list. What's going on? It's your man Louie T here on behalf of Mando. New year, new me. That's right. It's 2025, and I left some things in 2024. Let's see. Baggage, losing of any kind, and of course, odor. That's right. Funk is not traveling with me in 2025, and you know what I brought with me to ensure that that didn't happen? That's right. I brought Mando. Here's why. Whole body deodorant that's safe to use anywhere on your body. Pits, package, grundle, feet, belly button, butt crack, stomach folds. Anywhere funk travels, anywhere with hair, Mando can go there. Attacks odors aggressively. Clinically proven to control odor for up to 72 hours. Available in 4 cologne quality scents. Bourbon leather, Mount Fuji, Clover Woods, and my personal favorite, Pro Sport. So listen up. Your man Louie T has a deal for you. If you're a new user, right, use the promo code LouieT. Head over to mandopodcast.com/LouieT to get you 40% off, right? $5 off. That's 40% off of a Mando starter pack that includes a stick deodorant, a cream tube deodorant, and 2 free gifts of your choice, like wipes or something along that line. Look, you can't go wrong with Mando. If you're looking to kill and conquer odor in 2025, what are you waiting on? Get Mando. That's shopmando.com, shopmando.com. Use the promo code LouieT, or you can go to mandopodcast.com/LouieT. Either way, that's going to get you that $5 off. That's 40% off of their starter pack. Look, man, I wouldn't lead you astray. And some of y'all were funky in 2024. I'm going to keep it a bean. Some of y'all were funky and raunchy in 2024. Here's your answer in 2025. Get you some Mando. All right. Let's get back to the list. We left off at number 3. And there we find a guy that I think is very polarizing as to what his ceiling is at the NFL level. I think some of the things that he brings to the table, people fall in love with that so much so and start to push him up a little bit further than probably he needs to be. But when it's all said and done, I think he's got a chance to be really, really special. And if he reaches his ceiling, then he'd be worth a first-round pick. I don't think that's the case right now. Talking about Ohio State running back Trayvon Henderson. 5'10" and an eighth, 202 pounds. Ran a 4.43. I thought he was going to run faster, to be honest with you. The 4.43, not as explosive and dynamic as the tape suggests, which sometimes with these guys, you know, they may not look as fast on tape. They run faster, you know, on the 40, but they're not, their play speed isn't that way, or vice versa. You see him on tape, you're like, this guy's going to fly. Then he goes out there, and in the case of Tez Johnson of Oregon, you run a 4.51, and you're like, yo, what the hell? Doesn't make sense. But your eyes aren't deceiving you. I think he runs faster than 4.43, to be honest with you. There's not many angles or many times he doesn't beat the angle to the corner. And there's not many times once he turns that corner that he doesn't score. There's not many instances of him getting caught from behind. So that's some legitimate speed that he possesses. That's where you start with his breakdown. Dynamic, explosive runner with tremendous burst and acceleration, which fuels his home run speed. He's patient, which allows his blocks to coalesce. Great change of direction, tremendous change of direction. And then it's the ability to not only change direction, but reaccelerate to top speed in no time flat, it feels like with him. Physical and reliable as a blocker. And again, as I talked about with Quishon Judkins, Ohio State forced their backs to be physical as blockers for each other and blockers for the quarterback. So he's as good of a pass protector as you're going to find in this draft. He's an above average pass catcher, guy that you can feature in the pass game as well. Good vision, outstanding ball security as well. Only 2 fumbles in his entire career. Didn't lose any of them. So there's so much to unpack here and so much to love with Trayvon Henderson. The real question becomes, can you rely on him to be an every down back? Is he big enough to do that? The guy I comp him to, if he reaches his full potential, is Christian McCaffrey. He can be CMC, right? And if that is the case, then what are we talking about? Christian McCaffrey was the 7th pick overall back in 2017, 2018, whatever that draft was. So if he can be Christian McCaffrey, he's faster than McCaffrey. I think McCaffrey was right around that same size when he came out of Stanford. So again, and McCaffrey was able to be an every down back. Henderson gives me those types of vibes. But as we've seen with Christian McCaffrey, hasn't been able to stay healthy. And that's what you worry about with smaller backs. Now, a lot of Christian McCaffrey stuff has been soft tissue, and it wasn't like wear and tear. Oh, he's got a shoulder injury, or, oh man, he hurt his hip. It's, hamstring. It's calf, right? So you worry about guys. I told you, I really like my backs to be 210 pounds or greater, right? Because it's just a physically demanding position, which is why running backs have a very short shelf life. If he can be a 3-down back, he's a first-round pick. It's hard for me to invest a first-round pick on a player if he can't be a 3-down back. It's hard for me to envision that. Somebody said, come on, Louie, he's Jahmyr Gibbs. No, he's not Jahmyr Gibbs. He's not even close to Jahmyr Gibbs. The two are not the same. For one, Gibbs was a much bigger back. Like, you're not even in the same neighborhood. Gibbs was a much bigger back, and he's way faster. To me, Gibbs is faster, quicker, stronger, better pass catcher out of the backfield. Those two are not the same. And again, I don't want to sit here and act like Jahmyr Gibbs was supposed to be a first-round pick when he was selected, because a lot of people thought the Lions overdrafted him. I loved the pick, and I thought he was a first-round talent. Go back and watch the videos. So I can tell you right now, if Trayvon Henderson is a 3-down back, I'm telling you he's a first-round pick, because I think he could be Christian McCaffrey. He's not Jahmyr Gibbs, though. McCaffrey isn't Jahmyr Gibbs, because McCaffrey isn't that fast, and McCaffrey's not that big. And Trayvon Henderson isn't Gibbs, because he's not that fast and he's not that big. So, yeah, I think if Henderson can be a 3-down back, despite his size, I think he could be Christian McCaffrey. I think he could be Christian McCaffrey. Can he be the dynamic receiver that McCaffrey was or is? Not sure about that. McCaffrey can actually run routes, stick his foot in the ground, break somebody off, get open, separate. I don't know if Trayvon Henderson is doing that. Don't know if he's built to do that, but he can be more than just a flare out of the backfield, a check down over the ball. He can get out, run the wheel route. He can run the Texas route over the middle of the football field, which is a McCaffrey specialty. I think he can do those types of things. But can you split him out and have him run a slant or run a whip route like McCaffrey can? I don't know if he's doing all that, right? So now we get to number 2. And this is probably going to be an uncommon selection, but it's my list. And it's DJ Giddens, running back out of K-State. This is a guy that I couldn't tell you about DJ Giddens 2 weeks ago, right? Start watching him, and you quickly say to yourself, damn, this dude's super talented. At least that's what I said. 6 feet and a quarter, 212 pounds, ran a 4.43 at the combine. And you turn on the tape, and immediately you see the size, you see the speed, you see the quickness, you see the agility. And the first thing that popped into my head is, oh my God, I'm watching Todd Gurley. The suddenness, the quickness, the ability to bop, 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 make somebody miss, contact balance, to stay on his feet, to run routes out of the backfield, to be a pass catcher, to be dynamic, home run speed, and you see it, right? You feel it. When he gets out in the open field, you're not catching him. He first thing I thought of when I saw him was, oh, wow, this is prime Todd Gurley right here. Now, the one of the things that I didn't love is pass protection. But again, I told you, I'm not going to beat up guys for not being exceptional pass protectors. I'm going to give extra marks to the guys that are, right? Like Trayvon Henderson, absolutely. Like LaQuint Allen, who I talked about as if you're looking for an alternative to Trayvon Henderson, LaQuint Allen is the man for the job, right? He's great value, Trayvon Henderson. I'm going to give those guys extra marks for being exceptional as pass protectors. But I'm not going to beat guys up for not being exceptional pass protectors as long as you're willing to jump in the fray. And he's willing to jump in the fray. Doesn't always know where to go. Sometimes he's more so a hindrance and in the way than he is actually helping. But that can be cleaned up at the next level, right? What I care about is this is a 3-down back we're talking about here at 6 feet, 212 pounds, who's physical, but also possesses home run speed, tremendous vision, excellent body control, tremendous contact balance, and the ability to make guys miss inside the hole and outside in space. Can catch it. And again, he has that rare blend of size, speed, and physicality, and the ability to make you miss all in one package. I don't think he's getting enough love throughout this process, maybe because he played at K-State, right? And once upon a time, the running joke was they don't play defense in the Big 12. I can tell you this, watching him was a joy. It was a treat. And I think this guy could be one of the gems of this draft. One of the gems of this draft. Someone's going to draft him probably in the 2nd round is my guess. Could be in the 3rd round, depending on how these backs come off the board. Someone's going to get him. And if they utilize him correctly, shit, just put him on the field, okay, and give him the football. I could see him being the leading rusher of this rookie draft class next season. I could see him being the leading rusher. Again, it's going to come down to attempts and opportunities, right? You go somewhere where they already have established back, you're splitting the carries, might not get there, right? Because wherever Ashton Jeanty goes, he's going to be the guy, right? So that's going to be important for DJ Giddens. But, man, I'm telling you, this guy has Todd Gurley written all over him. Without the injuries, of course. He's impressive. And, again, there are not many guys in this draft that have the size, the speed, the physicality, and the ability to make you miss. You get that individually in a lot of these guys, right? You get this and this, but you don't get this, and this, right? If you get the speed and the ability to make somebody miss, guys probably 5'8", 200 pounds. Guys probably 5'9", 5'10", 193 pounds, right? If he can do that. If you get the physical part, guys probably 5'10", 5'11", 6 feet, 221, but he ain't making anybody miss, right? And he probably doesn't have that game-changing speed. Well, you're getting all of that in this package. So he's my number 2. DJ Giddens, I think he has the ability, if he maxes out his talents, to be Todd Gurley. And we know how dominant Todd Gurley was for a stretch in the NFL. Then my number 1 back, obviously this was not a surprise nor a secret, It's Ashton Jeanty, Boise State back, 5'8.5", 211 pounds. I never went and checked. I saw his pro day yesterday or 2 days ago now, but I never checked to see if he actually ran a 40. I don't think he did. Not that anybody actually cares, I don't think at this point, but I care. So let's see if he ran one. Nope, he didn't run one. Didn't run it. And I don't know if I blame him. Again, these guys are smart. Their agents are veterans. They're advising their clients to do what they feel like is in the best interest of their client remaining. Like, this is the thing about Ashton Jeanty. And this is what you have to remind yourself. He has nothing to gain by running the 40. Only something to lose, right? You want to run if you're the 7th back in the draft, right? If they're telling you right now you're a 3rd round pick, you want to run the 40 if people are questioning your speed, so that you can dispel that notion and maybe climb up to the 2nd round and maybe end up being the 4th best back in the draft, right? When you're number 1, the only place you can go is down. You can't go up. You're already the top back in the draft. So if he runs fast, they're going to go, great. I had concerns. Now I have no concerns. But guess what? If you don't run the 40 and they have the concern of speed, they're going to have to either take the risk. If they're big on speed, take the risk, or let you go somewhere else and possibly get their ass kicked. And most teams, when you see a talent like Ashton Jeanty, you're not going to bypass it, right? So, look, he looked plenty fast on film to me, personally. And again, another one of these guys that did not get caught from behind very often, if at all. And it was one game in particular that sold me on, okay, he's fast. Because, look, when you're out in the Mountain West Conference, hard for me to take you serious from a speed perspective. Like, you running by guys at Utah State doesn't move me, right? You running away from Hawaii defenders doesn't move the needle for me. I'm not even blinking when you run past a Wyoming defender, okay? So I needed to see him do it against elite level athleticism. And when he did it against Oregon, I said, okay, that's legit. That's legit NFL speed. The Oregon Ducks recruit high-level athletes that play it on Sundays. And if you're doing that to them, then you're certified. That was the game for me. So let's talk about Jeanty and what he feels like to me. Compact, decisive, no wasted motion. He gets the football and he's downhill immediately, and he's applying pressure to the defense. You take a false step, Jeanty's already beat you to that gap, and now you can't recover, right? Some of these guys, they hesitate. And again, sometimes you have to be patient to allow blocks to develop and set up. But with Jeanty, he has this rare blend of he can be patient when he needs to, but when he gets it, generally he's downhill immediately and he's attacking the defense. He's forcing the issue. And if you take a misstep or you freeze for a second to read whether it's run or pass, he's got you. You're not going to beat him to the spot, right? Nasty jump cut. He has the most devastating jump cut in this entire draft, and it's not close. And when you have a nasty jump cut, it opens up so many avenues and doors for you that doesn't exist to guys who don't have a jump cut. Because they could see you, now they don't, right? You could be right here in the A gap, jump cut, now you're in the B gap. You could be in one A gap, jump cut to the next A gap, right? You see it all the time. Guy gets the football. There's a defender waiting for him right there. at the mesh point where he's getting a handoff, an immediate jump cut. Now he's outside around the corner, and now it's an 8-10 yard gain when it easily could have been a 2-3 yard loss, right? You see it with him all the time on tape. Tremendous contact balance. I'm a sucker for contact balance. He's got the best contact balance I've seen since Alvin Kamara. And Alvin Kamara had the best contact balance I've scouted of any running back coming into the NFL. He's a yak monster. Arm tackles don't even phase Jeanty when he's running the football. Like, if you're just going to stick an arm out there, you might as well put it away. You're going to hurt yourself. I remember when I was a kid, my dad was a tremendous athlete growing up. Tremendous. My dad would tell me stories, and we go back to St. Thomas, and he was like a legend on that island, right? For his basketball prowess and his athleticism. And I remember as a kid, I would hit his knee, and my dad's knees were like massive. Like, the bone was so like strong. And he's like, yo, be careful with my knee now. You'll hurt yourself. That's how I feel about Jeanty. Did you see him at his pro day? The dude is 215 pounds of chiseled muscle. He looks like a statue. So if you're going to stick your arm out there, you run the risk of tearing your bicep. Don't do that. It's not a smart thing for you to do. It was fun watching him just run. It was like a fly hitting him that he didn't even bother to just swat away. He just paid it no mind, right? Almost like you driving a car, fly hits your windshield. It doesn't bother you as long as it's not in your line of sight. You just keep on driving, right? That's how he runs the football. He didn't even pay attention to arm tackle attempts. Just runs right through those like they're not even there. Reliable pass blocker. I've heard people question his ability to pass protect. I didn't see that. Now, again, there could be other games. And again, a lot of times it just comes down to what games you watched. Generally, I want to watch you at your best, and I want to watch you against the best competition, right? And every game that I watched him in, I felt good about what I saw from him. Was every operation clean? No. But did he get the job done 90% of the time? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. And I was more than pleased with what I saw from him. I think he's a reliable pass blocker that you can have on the field on third downs. He sets up his blocks extremely well. Tremendous burst and acceleration. I think that's the thing that gets people in trouble with Ashton Jeanty, is they don't think he's that fast. You know how many times he turned the corner on teams that didn't think he was going to be able to beat them to the corner and then turn it after he got there? There's so many instances of him beating defenders who took poor angles because they didn't think he was fast enough to make their angle look poor. They thought they took a good angle. He outruns the angle, makes it look like a bad angle, turns the corner, and now you're in trouble. Now you got to try to find a way to push him out of bounds or get him on the ground. Two things that are not very easy to do. He's got home run speed. And again, we don't know what his 40 time is. And by him not running it tells me he's probably not going to run that blazing fast 40 time. But you watch him on tape. Again, how many guys caught Ashton Jeanty from behind? I can tell you this. He reminds me a lot of Derrick Henry in that regard. I'm not seeing a lot of dudes track him down from behind. You see guys get a piece of his ankle, he stays on his feet, he scores. But there's not a lot of guys running Jeanty down and tackling him at the 3-yard line. Capable pass catcher. They threw him the ball a ton. Matter of fact, 2 years ago, I think he led the nation in receptions and by running backs. So he's more than capable of catching the football. They threw it to him a ton. I don't think they did a great job of blocking for him this past year when they threw it to him, but that's no here nor there. He can catch the football. And you can throw it to him down the field. And he has great vision as well. So here's the one knock. on Ashton Jeanty. If you watch them, you know what it is. It's his carry. He will put the ball on the ground. And I talked about this with Cam Scatterbo, I think it was, when I said sometimes when you get these rugged physical runners who break a bunch of tackles, sometimes the last thing they're worried about is where another defender is coming from. A guy that you shed 7 yards ago, well, that guy got up while you were juking somebody else or stiff arming another guy, and he's pursuing again, and you thought you got rid of him. Like, this isn't a movie, right, where you punch a guy or you break a bottle over his head and he's done, right? That's not real life. You know, if you break a bottle over a dude's head, he's going to be stunned, but he's not just done, right? He's not just out of the fight. You two-piece a dude, and he's not just on the ground and going to stay on the ground, right? Unless you knocked him slam out, right? Sometimes you break a tackle of a guy, now you're breaking another tackle, and now you're stiff arming somebody, the ball's out here, boop, ball gets punched out, right? So when you got to start breaking down dudes' fumbles by years, you got a lot of fumbles, right? So in 2022, he had one fumble and he lost it. In 2023, he had 5 fumbles. He lost all 5. And then in 2024, he improved. He only fumbled 4 times, but he lost 3 of them. So what I'm telling you is, when he fumbles, these are devastating fumbles. And the one fumble that he didn't lose, it went out of bounds. So when he fumbles, he fumbles. And a lot of times fumbles are, you know, and the recovery of them are a byproduct of right place, right time, et cetera. But look, there's something to be said about a dude who fumbles 10 times and 9 of them are lost. What that says to me is he's in open space, being chased by multiple defenders. A lot of times, as we know, when you get out in the open space, that 312-pound offensive lineman, he ain't running behind you. He did his job at the line of scrimmage by opening up a hole or sealing a defender. I'm not chasing you 25, 30 yards. This isn't a screen. All right, I did my job already. So if it ain't a receiver or a tight end trying to get a block down the field, you have no help. So when you break it off a big run and all of a sudden there's 3, 4 defenders and all of a sudden the ball's punched out, they have a better shot at recovering the football than you do. And that's what happens with Jeanty a lot of times. With these other guys, they fumble right around the line of scrimmage where there's a ton of teammates around that can help them out. Jeanty is fumbling down the field. The Penn State game is the one game that people will point to and say, this is why he's not this or he's not that. One, they were loading up the box to stop him. They said, I double dog dare you to beat me with one of these other dudes you got on your squad. It won't be Ashton Jeanty, though. And when he finally got out in some space against Penn State, that's when some of the issues happened. One by the sideline, another one, you know, getting close towards the sideline, and the ball was poked free. And it was, you know, obviously there's no good time to fumble, but in the playoff game, in the biggest game of your career, definitely don't want to put it on the ground twice and lose both of them. Those were game-altering plays, obviously, and you don't love that, you know. But Ashton Jeanty is the only running back in this draft class that is worth trading up for. To me, if he were the only running back to go in the first round, I wouldn't bat an eye. There is a very wide gap to me between he and the second best back in this class. I've seen people say, is there a difference between Omarian Hampton and Ashton Jeanty? Is there that big of a gap? Yeah, yes, there is. To me, it is, at least. I can't speak for anybody else. Yes, there is. Jeanty is different. He looks different. He plays different because he is different. Now, he's got to hold on to the damn ball, because I don't give a damn how special you are. If you're fumbling, we got issues. but everything's there. You know how you go to McDonald's and you get the Happy Meal and they forget to put the fries in there, or, you know, you ask for barbecue sauce, they didn't give you any. So you always got to check your bag, right? Did they put my fries in there? Did they put the sauce in there? You don't have to check in the Ashton Jeanty bag. It's all there. Don't bother. It's all there. Even though we don't know what the speed is, it's there. Don't worry about it. Just take the bag and go home. You'll be pleased at what you find when you open it up. My comp for him, Kenneth Walker III. I thought he was a first-round back when he came out of Michigan State. Somehow he fell to the second round, and his only issue in the NFL has been he's had a couple fumbles too, but staying healthy, right? That's been his biggest issue. Otherwise, he's had some games where he's absolutely just taken over the game. At one point, he was the Seahawks offense. And everyone was saying, why isn't he getting the ball more? Him and Jeanty are very similar. The biggest difference is Kenneth Walker ran his 40 and he blazed it. It was 4.38 or something like that. Blazed it. Jeanty ain't running that fast, but it looked that fast on tape. So I see a lot of Kenneth Walker III in Ashton Jeanty. Size, physicality, ability to make people miss, explosive movements. Like Kenneth Walker III's movements are very explosive. So are Jeanty's. From the jump cut to a quick bada-bop, right? In and out, you know, without breaking stride. Arm tackles don't really phase Kenneth Walker III. They're very similar to me. I think Jeanty's got a chance to be special. I think he really, really has a chance to be special. And whomever draft, I'm just say this. I don't want him in our division. I pray the Cowboys don't get him. Look, Raiders, do me a solid. Just take the man at 6. Please. Just get him out of there. Like, I don't want him just hanging around. If he falls into the wrong hands, this could be dangerous. So I'd really appreciate it if you just took him at 6. Please and thank you. So that is my list of the running backs in the 2025 NFL draft class. I think it is a really dynamic list of backs. There are guys that I didn't name that may come into the league and have success. It's that many guys. Again, there are over 30 draftable backs this year. All 32 of them aren't getting drafted, more likely than not. But 24 of them probably are, right? 20 of them, 22 of them, 25 of them are. It's going to be interesting to see how fast these backs come off the board, because that's going to determine how long you can wait as a team to grab yours. They start coming off. If 3 backs go in the first round, well, damn. Shit gets a little dicey, because now teams might feel more compelled. Let me go grab mine. 3 already went in the first round. Let me go grab mine real quick in the second round, early second round. Then that's going to force another team to say, well, shit, let me go ahead and get mine then, too. Well, if y'all going to start grabbing y'all's, let me grab mine. And all of a sudden, you've gone through the first 2 rounds, 8 running backs are gone. And you're like, sheesh, didn't see that many guys going that fast. Or 9 or 10 are gone after 2 rounds, right? That changes things, because now the guys that you were hoping, oh, I hope this guy gets to the 3rd. Nope. Hope this guy gets to the 4th. Nope. So it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. you could only have one first-round running back, and that's Jeanty. And then the running back position goes nuts in the second round, and there's 6 or 7 taken in the second round. And just like that, you're at 8 anyway, right? So we'll see. And again, it could be the opposite. Teams could go with the, oh, we'll just wait approach. Other positions, let's grab that stuff first. There's so many running backs that you can draft. We'll grab one later. No worries. That could push them down. So be interesting to see how all of this plays out. But one thing's for sure, this is a talented group, as talented as I've seen. Again, it's not that high-level Adrian Peterson type talent. It's not LaDainian Tomlinson, although Jeanty could be really good, but he doesn't have LT speed. But those Hall of Fame backs, talent-wise, don't exist here. But the depth of this draft at running back is unlike any draft I've ever covered. So there's that. And Jeanty as your lead back isn't a bad option. Isn't a bad option at all. Ethan Dykes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, right? Lou, I don't care about positional value. Jeanty is a dog. I think teams should be higher on him. San Fran, LA, hell, even the Giants need to hit the button. That's what I don't want, is for the Giants to say, you know what? We don't know who the hell is going to be our quarterback 2-3 years from now, but whoever it is, we want Ashton Jeanty running the football. That's what I don't want. I don't want them to say, well, Russell Wilson is going to start for us this year. Let's give him some help. You want to give him some help? Go draft Travis Hunter. I like that help. That help is a lot less scary. Because how many times is Travis Hunter touching the ball in a game? Don't know. What I do know is if you draft Jeanty, he's going to touch it 20 some odd times. That's scary to me because he's dynamic. Again, we already got to deal with Saquon Barkley, and this ain't that. This ain't that. But whatever the next step down is, that's what this is. I don't want any parts of that either. So, yeah. I think he's going to go relatively high in this draft. I don't think teams are sleeping on him. I think he's going to go relatively high in this draft. That's my guess. I could be wrong. And he could fall to the Cowboys at 11 or 12, or wherever they sit. You know what would be funny, though? Is if he's on the board at the Cowboys selection and they took an offensive lineman. Because, you know, that's like, and they took Booker, the guard out of Alabama. Like, that's some Jerry Jones shit, right? They love, but you can't knock a team for building, you know, building in the trenches, which is what the Cowboys, they were the Eagles before the Eagles, right? The Cowboys were the ones. When Zeke Elliott came in the league, they had Travis Frederick at center before he had that disease that ended his career prematurely. They had Zach Martin. They had what's the tackle's name? Tyron Smith. Like, they invested in that offensive line. They had all those dogs up front. That's why Zeke was able to come in and immediately hit the ground running. You know, however many yards, 1,600 yards, whatever that rookie season looked like, or the second year, whatever it was. And they like to keep the cupboard stocked. Last year, they drafted a first-round tackle, right? Guyton, right? If I'm not mistaken. The year before that, didn't they draft Smith? Tyler Smith? So they love drafting them a first-round offensive lineman. That'd be great if they did it again. But I don't even want Jeanty to be on the board. Let's end the madness. Anyway. I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on the Draft Prospects 101 series. The running back position is complete and in the books. We will now turn our attention to edge rusher. Tons of edge rushers in this draft. Not the most talented group we've ever seen, but there are some guys that have some tools to work with. So we'll get to that position next on the docket. But that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys next week. Enjoy the college basketball tournaments heating up. Enjoy baseball is back, right? This is the second day of baseball. So you got baseball, NBA season coming to a regular season coming to a close here shortly. So things are heating up. So enjoy the weekend. I'll be back on the other side and we'll dive right back in. Until then, I'm your man Louie T signing off. See you guys next time. Peace.